Hello guys, Nigel with you, Nigel's Modelling Bench. Welcome along. If you're new to the channel, welcome along. If you're not new to the channel, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. And if you haven't already subscribed, please hit the little box down there. That'll get you subscribed. And if you want to get notifications of when I'm putting videos out, then hit the notifications bell. And then at the end of the video, if you like what you've seen, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't liked what you've seen, give it a thumbs down. So, right, in today's video, I'm going to do something I don't normally do. I am going to knock a YouTuber who has been telling you information that is completely incorrect, and I've got to name and shame that person because it can't continue. So I've had these kits sent to me today. They've been delivered to me today, and these two kits, we've got an Airfix Mark 5C and an Airfix Mark 5C. They're both 1/72 scale. This one's a starter set and this one isn't. Okay, so I've been sent these kits to do a comparison, and Moss over at Moss6510, go and have a look at his channel. He does a live stream every Monday night, and he does various bits and pieces, and he appears on other people's channels as well. He's a big fan of Airfix, and he does, where criticism is due, he will criticise, so I wouldn't class him as a fanboy necessarily, but he does like the company a lot. So these are both kits of 1/72 scale, both Supermarine Spitfires, as I say. This one is in like the Tunisian scheme, and this one is in the typical RAF green-grey scheme. We've got this one here on the box art, which is having a little bit of a dogfight with an FW190. Looks like it's just taken out one there. And then we've got this one here is coming in, and looks like it's just got an Opal Blitz there, soft skin. So there we go. So two kits from Airfix, pretty much the same subject, but entirely different kits. They're both sealed, they're both brand new. I haven't looked inside. They both have cartograph decals, as you can see on here. Okay, so we both have cartograph decals, which is great because Airfix cartograph decals are awesome. This one's got 8+ on it. This one says, it doesn't have an age that I can see there. I don't see an age on there. Sorry, 8+. So they're both 8+. This one was designed and tooled in 2020. This one was designed and tooled in 2020. This one was made in India and the UK. This one was no doubt made in India. I think what it is with the starter sets, I think the paints in that are made in the UK because they're Humbrol acrylic paints. So there we go. So they're both sealed, they're both brand new. They haven't been opened, and I haven't looked in them. So this one has a total of, I think it says on here, where was that I saw? I think this one has 26 parts or something. Yeah, this one has 26 parts, 131mm long, 157mm wingspan, so it's a nice little aeroplane. We've got 4 paints in there, and obviously we've got our glue and we've got our brush as well. This one is going to be the same size, 131, 157, but it's got 73 pieces. This one is a skill level 2. This one is a skill level 1. So there we go. So if you're brand new to the hobby, this might be a good way of getting going. If you've got a niece or a nephew or younger brother or whatever who wants to start modelling, you just want to give them a nice little gift for their Christmas or birthday, then this is a great place to start because everything's in there. And I'm led to believe the instructions are also very, very nicely laid out for complete novices so they can pick it up and understand. So let's have a look in the kits and do a quick comparison. So I'm going to cut the box open on that one. This one is a lovely top opening box, which is very nice. This one is the less popular end opening box, but they've had to do that because it's a hanger. It hangs on a peg in a shop, so it's nicely visible. So let's have a look at this starter set first to see what's in here. So we've got, straight away, we've got 4 paints and some glue. The paints all look to be good and sealed. I believe they had problems with their sealing of their paints. We've got a nice little brush there, which is, what size is it? It's a number 2, so it's a good all-rounder, and very nice indeed. I actually think these brushes are quite good. I've got some here that I use, believe it or not, and they last longer than some more expensive brushes, to believe it or not. So there we are, the box is empty, so everything is in this bag. So you can, as you see, it's a very simple kit, very low parts count. We'll just get the bag open. And you can see it's the typical grey plastic from Airfix. It has a nice surface finish. It's not at all grainy, which is something we often see. We've got, as you can see, we've got one-piece tail planes. We've got a one-piece lower wing, and then the upper wings are going to go onto there and fill that up. So that's nice. We've got some detail in there for the undercarriage bays. We've got fuselage halves with some lovely detail inside there. We've got the engine cover there with the integral exhaust, so that's nice. We do have the option to have the undercarriage down or up. By the look of it, we have separate wheels. So even though there's only 26 pieces, there's 2 of them you're not going to use, or if you put the wheels up, there's 4 you're not going to use. So that's only 22 pieces. And it also showed it on a stand. Okay, I've just edited that bit because I was saying, where's the stand? There's no stand. It should have a stand, and here it is. So I must be going losing my sight or something. We've also got a pilot figure, which looks very nice. Okay, and we've got obviously the stand here, which you're going to paint black, and this is what Airfix call a shadow stand, because when you put the model over it, as you can see, it's like a shadow of the model sitting there below, and it's very stout, very sturdy, and it's designed to put the aircraft at a slight angle. So yeah, very nice indeed. Maybe we'll actually paint the pilot figure, put him in, and have it flying on its stand. There we go. So that you can see there's the kit, and obviously we've got the clear canopy, which is a nice little design. It's got a nice big tab in the back, so that's probably going to clip in. But this is the bit I really wanted to see, was the instructions. Now, obviously in here we've got our decals. So we've got water slide decals, cartograph, very, very nice, and lovely, nice protection, having them inside the instructions there. And then here we have a sheet before you start. So this is telling you wash all parts with soapy water. That's really something you should do with all plastic kits. A lot of people tell you don't bother. I think you should. Look for frame letters and part numbers. We'll cover all this when we do the build. Use clippers to remove the parts from the frames. Use sanding files. Use drills. Use tweezers to hold small parts. Test fit before gluing. Do not use too much glue. Use tape and pegs. Stir the paints thoroughly. Paint small parts on the sprue. Oh, people will be panicking. Allow time to dry between coats. Cut out your decals with scissors. That's something I always say, don't ever use a knife. Hold the decals in warm water. They're saying for 20 seconds. You don't need to hold them that long, but whatever. Slide the decal off the sheet onto the model. And there we go. So there's your basic guide to getting you started. So if you're not scared by that, then move on to the next step, which is the instructions. If you are scared by that, read it again and then you won't be scared. Or watch one of my beginners videos and it'll help you through. Okay, so we have 2 colour instruction sheet. Sorry, 3 colour. We've got the yellow as well. So here we got, this is common with most model kits. Even when you go up to like £500–600 model kits, you'll still have this same sort of thing. They've got all the different health and safety and assembly bits and pieces in different languages. You'll have your warnings here. You'll have your key, which is what the symbols mean on the instructions. And then here you've got your sprues. Okay, so you've got all your sprues called out there. So here we can see we've got the clear sprue there is still in the bag, so that's D. This one here, there's B. This one here, there's C. And then this one here, that way round, there's A. So we've checked, we've got all our sprues, we've got all our parts. All the parts are on the sprues, we've checked all that, and all is good. If you do find any parts missing or damaged or whatever, just contact Airfix on their website. There is a specific part service, and you can contact them, and they will want the number off the box. And that number is, where is it? Or is it on the bag? Oh, here we go, it's on the bag, okay? This number here. Okay, that's the number they'll want when you email them, and you must give them your name, your address, your telephone number, that number, and the actual problem you've got. And they are very, very good, and they will respond like that. So, very, very easy to follow instructions. So, not only are they telling us which parts we need, they're actually telling us where on the sprue they are. So you can see we got here sprue B. It's telling you we need those 2 parts there. So it's telling us to cut them out. It's showing us exactly where to put the glue, okay, and it's showing us where it goes together. So we're putting them together, and then that's how it's going to look when it's gone together. Here we move on now to sprue C. So we've got this sprue here, we've got these 2 parts, these two parts here, we're going to glue those together. And it's telling us to put glue on the back. Okay, the whole thing's going to spin. I was thinking maybe you wouldn't glue that, but yeah, that's going to go in there. And then the two parts together are going to sit over the sort of tab of the front of the fuselage. And then the engine cover is going to come down. You can see here off of sprue B. Back to sprue B, you can see it's there. And they're showing those two parts cut off now. Okay, so that's very, very clear. And then they're showing you how it looks when it's assembled once again. So they're showing you where to put the glue. Don't put any glue around the front because you might end up getting your glue on your propeller and then it won't spin. And they've also got the symbol here, look, with the line through it, no glue. Do not glue that. Okay. Then going over the page. Now we're using sprue A, which is this one. And it's telling us we're going to take these wing sections off. And we're also using the seat here from sprue C. So that's all clear, and that's just going to sit on top of there. Now you might choose to paint this because it should be green. You may choose to paint the inside of the fuselage, and I've got a feeling that if we mix this light grey and that green together, we'll probably get just the colour we need, but we'll look at that. Now we're coming along, we've got sprue A, and as you can see we've got all these parts off, they're all missing, and now we've got our two tail planes, they're going to glue on there. So sprue A can now go in the recycling or in the bin or whatever. And then we've got this wing section is going to be glued to the bottom of the fuselage. So that's how your model is going to look. So now, in just 5 steps, we have a Spitfire. Going over the page, we've got our oil cooler and radiator, the water cooler. They're going in underneath. Paint exterior colours after this stage. See rear of pack for painting guide. And here you can see they've got the model painted. Now I would suggest, if you are going to do this, I would suggest painting inside there first before you fit these on, because otherwise when you look in there you're going to see light grey plastic, whereas you really want to see the proper colour. Here we've got the undercarriage in its folded up state, so if you're going to have the model in flight, then there you go. We've got this big hole in the bottom for the stand, so I'm guessing there will be a bung to put in there if we don't want the model in flight, and it looks like there isn't. You could easily make something up and just put it in there. So there's your undercarriage up, so have it in flight on the stand, or you've got the choice here of having your undercarriage down and having the wheels fitted on there. Again, they're showing you the sprue where the parts are. And then going over the page, we're going to put the pilot in. It's telling us not to glue the canopy, so it's designed so you don't have to glue the canopy. Because we all know when we started modelling, you get glue on your fingers, you get it on your clear parts and it ruins them. So there we are. So we're going to glue the canopy in. Again, as I've told you when I'm building models before, little tiny parts like this, leave them off, okay, until the end because they'll get snapped off. And then here we are fitting the model to our stand, and it's saying add decals at this stage, see rear of pack for positions. So there we are. That's our model done. Advice for supervising parents, which is really cool. So if the children are building this, then things they need to be aware of, health and safety wise. We have a contents list, and this is basically telling you what's in here, what the dangers are, what you need to be careful of, and what to do in case of a hazard. Record the telephone number of your local hospital or local poison centre in the box below. Wow. Okay. So there we go. So all in all, a great little starter set to get you going. So we've seen that one now. So we've got 3 sprues, a clear sprue, some decals and some paint. So you've got that there, that there, that there, and some decals here like that. So that's your starter set. Okay, so that will build up into a little Spitfire on a stand in a weekend or whatever, however long you want it to take you. And there you go. Paintbrush, instructions, that completes that set. So moving on, we've got this one here. I did cut both sides of the box, didn't I? So this is now the standard type of Airfix box. And you can see here we have top opening box, and inside we have a bag with all our sprues and everything in. We've got the clear cut part separately in there, and then here we have instructions. And as you will see straight away when we look at this kit, you will see that we have more parts, more fiddly parts Again, we have a lovely smooth surface. There's no, Airfix have been known for that grainy texture, but there's not on this. It's lovely. And we've got the tropical bits and pieces on the bottom there. We've got separate exhaust. We've got different styles of exhaust. We've got different style of spinner. We have a pilot figure. We've got all these separate bits and pieces to detail the inside of the cockpit that we didn't have in the starter set. Okay, and then here we have our lower wing and upper wing and tail planes and separate rudder. Again, the tail planes are in one piece, which is nice. The wing section is pretty much identical to the starter set, so all very good. Obviously with the starter set you didn't get the separate rudder. And there you go. So there's your, that's what you're getting in your normal Airfix 1/72 scale Spitfire. This one is A02108. So if you want to write that one down, if you want to get this kit. But, very, very nice indeed. Nice engraved panel lines, as you can see. Lovely surface on there. Should go together a dream. We've got the same on there. We've got the lovely surface finish on the cockpit. We've got the access panel there. Again, scribe recessed detail. And we have lovely cockpit detail in there. And then we're also going to have separate cockpit sides here, which will give us the floor and everything and the sideboards of the cockpit. So that's all going to look lovely. We've even got two different propellers there as well. No doubt in the instructions it will tell us which is for which. We have two options. In this one we can build it as an English British aircraft, or we can build it as an Allied aircraft there. Okay, so whoops, throwing the decals across the room. We have a decal sheet, and you can see here we have a lot more complex in the decals. We've got an instrument panel decal here. We've got all our stencils for all of the aircraft. We've got the US Air Force scheme there with the shark's teeth and everything on the front. And then we have the British version here. Now, unfortunately, those decals look very orange. That's not the camera. They do really look very orange. I'll put them next to this red box and you'll see what I mean. They do look very orange indeed, but I guess we'll have to do that version. Can't be. It must be a fault in the printing, because unless they really were that colour, and I don't know, but they can't have faded, because Moss sent me this kit. I know that he stores his kits in a, I think he stores most of them in the loft, so it would have been dark all the time, and this kit was sealed, so they haven't been out in the sunlight and faded. So anyway, but as I said earlier, you know, if I really had a concern with that, I could contact Airfix and they would send me another decal sheet. Unless, of course, they are supposed to be orange. I don't know. Maybe this period they had orange roundels. I don't think they did, to be honest, but anyway, we shall see. So as you can see in here, you've got a comparison. They're both 72nd scale Spitfires, but this is a lot more complex with twice the parts. And as you can see, there's a lot of fiddly bits to go together. We've got our same sort of thing here. We've got all our icons which are telling us where the parts are. It's not now showing us where to glue. It's not showing us where the parts are on the sprue. We don't get that sheet where it says before you start with all your hints and tips, although they do tell you on the front of the instructions. Here we go. Surface to be painted should be clean. Before parts are removed from the sprue, wash in warm soapy water, rinse and dry thoroughly. Stir paints thoroughly before use. So once again, they're telling you to wash your parts. They always tell you to wash your parts. People will tell you they don't use release agent these days in mold tools. Having been an engineer working in injection molding, I can tell you they do. So there we go. So here we are, assembling the bulkhead here, putting some electronics gear on the back of the bulkhead, and then come round, we're going to put the seat frame on. Then we've got the bottles going in the side of the fuselage here. This part here is going to be aluminium. This part here is going to be cockpit green. Then we're going to add that bulkhead into the side of the cockpit. This is the lower cockpit section. Add that bulkhead and the instrument panel. So the lower part of the instrument panel is going to be green. The upper part is going to be the decal on it. So paint it black and then put the decal on. You'll see a little handy tip for that if you look at my dam buster build, which is coming soon. Here we've got the lower section with the rudder pedals and the rudder actuators going in there, control column and the stick on the top. We've got the seat going together. Not sure if this, looking at the shape of it, it looks like it is the fibre seat, so it'll be like a reddy colour. And then here we've got the backrest is in black, and then here the armour plate is in the green. Adding the seat down there, and then we're putting the throttle levers into the side of the fuselage there. Going over the page, bringing the other side of the fuselage together. So this is now building up like a much bigger, more expensive model. You've got like a cassette there with your cockpit, which is going to go in between. So it's telling you here, if you're going to have your cockpit closed, then you need to shave away that piece of plastic there, which is a really nice touch. You might think, oh, I don't want to shave it away. Well, the reason for they do that is because if you didn't have it there, when your cockpit's open, you'll just have a piece of flat plastic. That is showing you the actual rail that was there. So it's really, really nice. And you've got the same on the other side, look here. So it's really nice that when the cockpit's back, you have got an accurate rail there that the cockpit would slide on. Some larger kits don't even have that. So here we are, we've got an oxygen tank going in there, or some sort of tank. And then we're going to put our cockpit into the sidewall of the fuselage there after we've painted it all green and everything. Got aluminium on the back there. And then we've got the green and the aluminium here. Bringing the fuselage halves together and putting the propeller spinner in there. Wheelbase going into the lower wing. It's telling us to drill some holes if we're going to use that big air intake there, big cooler. And then it's either a cooler or an air intake, I'm not sure. I think it's an air intake actually. And then here we've got aluminium going into the wheelbase. And it's telling us to paint all this. So the wheelbase is going to be all aluminium. Not 100% sure if that's correct, but it is on the Hurricane. I'm not sure about the Spitfire. I'm sure someone will tell us in the comments. Bringing the wing and the fuselage together, adding the tailplanes and the rudder. This is a bugbear of mine with all these kits. The rudder goes on, there's hardly any contact area and they keep getting broken off. So if you are an experienced modeler, I would suggest just drilling a couple of holes, put a couple of bits of brass in there just to give it some strength. My Hurricane, I must have knocked the rudder off about 3 times. Then we've got this tropical air intake going on the bottom. You can see that there, which is very pretty. And we have the option, I don't think we have an option to not have that, do we? Let's have a look at the parts. There's our lower belly there. Yeah, so this is, you don't have the option to not have that. You can't make a normal sort of Mark V Spitfire with just the flush, you know, like this one is. You can see on here, just in case you don't know what I'm talking about, you can't have the front like that. So you've just got that normal sort of Spitfire belly on there. So bear that in mind if you're buying this kit. You have to do the tropical version. So there we've got the tops of the cannons going on. So we've got some short cannons there, just with the domes over the end, and then he's got the longer cannon barrels. So you must choose which one you want to do. This is version A. This is version B. I'm not sure if in the colour callouts they are called. Yes, they are. They're called version A and B. So there's version B, there's version A. Radiators going in, they're going to be painted silver, so that's going into the wing. I would recommend painting inside there first. Just make your mind up whether it's going to be aluminium in there or if it's going to be the colour of the underside of the wing. And then here you have the flap on the back of the radiator. You should have it open or closed. And then here we have the oil cooler going in there, 2 halves seem to deal with there. And then we've got undercarriage up, undercarriage down. As you see, this aircraft has no stand. You can buy Airfix stands separately, or you can just use wire and wood or whatever, or you might want to hang it off your ceiling. But if you want to have the undercarriage down, then there you go. I generally have the undercarriage down. Fitting the tail wheel there, that's going to be the same whether it's down or up. And then we've got that large bulge going on the bottom there, so if you decide to use that, so I called it an intake earlier, didn't I? It's I think it's an additional fuel tank actually. And then we've got the exhaust going on, so we've got the option to have the B-type exhaust or the A-type exhaust. They are different. And then we've got the spinner back plate, the propeller and the actual spinner itself going on. Only apply glue to the highlighted area shown here, so they've designed that very well. And then you've got a choice of 2 different spinners, 2 different back plates, 2 different props, whether you're doing version A or version B. And then coming over the page, you've got the pitot tube going on, pilot going in, they've got all the colours there, you can paint him, and then you've got the cockpit going in here. So you can have a one-piece cockpit and have it all closed, or one-piece canopy, should I say, and have it all closed, or you can have the 3-piece and have the windscreen, the little rear piece there, and then have the other part of the canopy, the blister part, slid back. So there you go. So very nice indeed. So here we have the colour callouts. So we've got all these colour callouts are in Humbrol. You can do cross-referencing with these. I've got these old, these came in, everybody asked me about these. These came in Model Airplane magazine many, many years ago. They're way out of date now because there's been loads more colours released. But you've got the cross-references. So here you can see 24 is matte yellow. 24 here is called trainer yellow. So you've got Viejo, you've got extra colour, or extra acrylics, whatever they're called. You've got Revell. PS is Polyscale. M is, what's M? Model Master. L is life colour, and then you've got Mr. Hobby, Mr. Colour there, solvent paints, that's the word I was looking for, and then you've got MA, which is the aqueous, so the water-based paints, and here you've got T, which is Tamiya, and they've got no cross-reference for Tamiya. But if we go to the white, which is 34, here you can see obviously we've got cross-references for all of them. So you've got XF2 for the Tamiya, you've got H11 for the Model Air, for the aqueous colour, and then you've got Viejo 951-1. So there we are. So you can look those up online, all those colour references. As I said, they came from a model airplane magazine many years ago, and they're no longer available, I don't think. So here they're telling us to mix 157 and 33. So 157 is azure blue, and they're telling you to darken it up, so you put a tiny bit of blue in there. The colour on the lower here is 89, which is a matte blue, matte middle blue. So there's no Tamiya reference for that. I've actually made my own azure blue. It's just basically a mix of Tamiya blues. If you look online, Google is your friend, put azure blue Tamiya. Put those 3 words in Google and you'll get it all these colour mixes you can use with Tamiya paints, if that's your chosen paint system. So that's the American one. Then going over the page, we've got the British one here, which is basically the same, except obviously it's got the British wrangles and fin flash and everything. So there we are. And you can see on this one, what's interesting with this is it was obviously once a British aircraft, and they've painted over the roundels and put the American symbols on there when they handed them over to the Americans to use. Okay, so this was from Algeria, November, December 42. This one's got creased in the box. And then this one is from Italy, October 43. So this is your later British version. So there we are. And that's the kit. As I say, we've looked at the sprues already, but they are very nicely moulded, very crisp, no seam lines. So, very, very nice indeed. We've got here the clip wing version. Was one of these clip wing? I didn't notice. No, they're both full wing. So we have the option to have clip wing should you want to. So if you've got aftermarket decals or whatever, or you want to build one with the clip wing, then there you go. Fill your boots, you can. You can just put them in your spare box for another build. There we are, and as you can see, lots and lots of little bits and pieces, and a far more complex set. When you look at all that together, it's a lot more complex than the starter set. As you can see there, you can see there's a lot more to that than there is to that. Now, getting to the bit I talked about at the beginning, talking about knocking somebody on YouTube, that person, they're not going to like me for saying this, that person is me. I have knocked Airfix starter sets ever since I started my channel. And I've always said, don't buy Airfix starter sets, because basically they are small kits put in a box with some brushes and paints and some glue, like that. So what you basically do, you get that, you do that, and you call it a starter set. But the trouble is, this kit, for a brand new beginner, is way too complex. All these tiny little undercarriage parts and everything. Go and have a look at my Hurricane and you'll see how I struggled with the undercarriage and everything, getting it all to stay in place, because it's all so tiny, which of course it will be. It's 1/72 scale. So I've always said Airfix should do 1/48 scale starter kits instead of 1/72 scale. Obviously that would entail putting the price up. No one has ever put me right. I can't believe no one has ever. I mean, everybody's quick enough to put me right if I name something, you know, something blue and it's actually known as something grey. I'll get a million comments telling me that I'm wrong. But I've always said this and no one's ever put me right. So here I am today, and Moss has sent me these kits to prove myself wrong. Starter sets, now, I'm not saying always, but now, starter sets are designed for starters. Okay, that is a very simple kit. And as Dale said when we were talking the other day, when you look at that built up, painted on a stand, and you look at that built up, painted and on a stand, they will look identical. Obviously this was tropical, but they will look identical. They've both got the lovely smooth texture. They've both got the lovely surface detail. I mean, you can compare these wings. I mean, the sprues are practically identical. you can see, if anything, the starter set is crisper. I mean, it's crazy. They are absolutely, you can compare wings there. It's just, which was which? This was the Airfix, this was the starter set, wasn't it? You can tell they're slightly different colour. But, yeah, so, as Dale said, on a stand, certainly when you're standing a foot away, they're going to look identical. So, I'm going to build both of these in a video coming up soon. I'm not going to do a full-on sort of build. I'll just quickly build them and film snippets going through. I may do a complete build of this because that will help the youngsters out. But, yeah, very, very nice indeed. And I want to say a massive thanks to Moss. And I want to give myself a massive slap across the head, slap across the ear, because I have been wrong. I've not been wrong in the past, because if you look at like the Zero and the cheaper starter sets that you can pick up in the likes of Aldi and all that, going back a couple of years ago, they were just small kits put in a box with some paints, and they were small kits. Now they are doing dedicated proper kits for proper modelers, and they are doing starter sets for newbies. So that is really, really cool. Well done, Airfix. And the quality that's gone in this, the simplicity, the engineering, and the way this sheet is laid out, and the way the instructions are laid out, is just better than I would have ever expected. I have to be honest, this is absolutely and utterly stunning, and what a great introduction to modelling for youngsters, or, you know, oldies as well. If you've never built a model, you know, whatever, it doesn't matter if you're 12 or 82, it's going to be an absolutely wonderful help. You could be 8 or 78. So there we go. So there we are. Sorry about all the pauses, guys. I've still got a cold, so I've had to stop to cough. I tried doing it with the coughs in there. It just sounds awful. So there we go. So really, really happy with this. Thank you so much to Moss. Get on over to his channel and have a look. As I say, he does a live stream every Monday. And there's always talk on there about new kits coming out and that. And you'll often see me on there with him as well. And yeah, really, really gobsmacked that he sent me these. So thank you very much. And I know why he sent them to me, because, well, he sent them to me to prove myself wrong. And also to give Airfix a massive shout out, because they deserve it. This is absolutely brilliant. Really, 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 really chuffed. And that is just, as I said, I'm gobsmacked. Really, really cool. So we will do this one. We will do it with that glue, with those paints and that brush. And we'll use these clear parts and we'll put those decals on it. And we will use nothing else. We'll use a knife. We'll use a sanding stick. Here we go, here's a worn out old 400 grit. And we'll use a pair of cutters. And we might use some masking tape and some pegs. We might use a couple of clothes pegs. So with all that there, we will produce a Supermarine Spitfire. Okay? It'll be coming on the channel very soon. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.